In today's video, I'm going to point out some common mistakes that slow pitch outfielders make and some quick tips on how to avoid or correct them. So if you're new here, I'm Dan Blewett. I was a former pro baseball player. I also owned a baseball and softball academy. So I've been teaching all of the game's skills for quite a long time. And now I play slow pitch. I love it. And I'm here because I just want to help players have more fun on the field, make that running catch, make that stronger throw from the outfield, whatever it is. I've been really grateful to have a cool journey in sports, and I want to share that with other people. So today I'm going to give you a couple quick tips that I see commonly with beginner or rec level outfielders that are pretty easy to switch off, to fix, to correct, if you know what you're looking for. So today's video, some quick tips for outfield and slow pitch. All right, so the first mistake that beginner outfielders make in slow pitch softball is that they hold their glove up too soon when they're running after a fly ball. So what you don't want to do is when that ball's in the air, you hold your glove up and run. And the answer is kind of obvious because you can't run very fast or be very athletic when your arm is overhead holding this 1 pound glove over your head. And young players always do this. They all do this where they see ball, so they think, I want to catch the ball, so I got to put my glove up, but the ball hasn't arrived yet. So to break this habit, just remind yourself, I need to run first and I need to reach last. So you got to run with your normal running gait. That's how you can really cover a lot more ground. And then only when it's time, reach up and catch that fly ball. But do not put your glove over your head. It's a surefire way to reduce your range and make it more difficult to catch fly balls in slow pitch. The second outfield mistake I see new players make in slow pitch softball is trying to catch everything with 2 hands. This is really problematic, and it again hurts your athleticism and your range. When you're running, especially if there's a long run and you want to make that catch, if I try to get my other arm over here at the same time, now my whole body is contorted and rotated and leaning, and I'm not going to have the reach. Let your glove do the work. So if I'm making that long run and I've got to make that catch here, I really cannot get this arm over there. But I see this all the time where players are running and they're trying to do this. This arm will not help those kinds of catches. They will only make it worse. They will impede your ability to be athletic at that last moment when you've got to reach out and just catch it in your mitt. So, same advice, run first, catch it last, catch it one-handed. Yes, sometimes if the ball clanks off the heel of your glove, if your other hand's there, you can, grab it before it falls to the ground. But that's not going to be the case when you're in motion and you've got to reach for a ball. So do not use 2 hands if you're on the run. Only use 2 hands if you're camped and the ball's coming to you. Sure, you can do 2 hands. But every time else, use your glove. It's meant to catch the ball with 1 hand. Another big mistake that slow pitch outfielders make is when the ball's hit and they make their first step in on the ball. It's really hard to recover if your first step is in. Instead, you want to make sure your default is, and you remind yourself of this, that my first step, if the ball's hit up in the air, out into the outfield, my first step is back. And then if it's not back, I can much more easily adjust and run in because we run much faster forward than we do running backwards. So this is an old adage. First step is back. And look, you're going to screw this up. I still screw this up sometimes. I misjudge one. It looks like a pop-up. So I immediately start going in when in reality, they hit it better than I thought and it's going over my head. And look, it happens. So always just do the best you can. You're going to make mistakes judging fly balls sometimes, especially under the lights at different times of day. Be kind to yourself, but at the end of the day, make sure you try to remind yourself that the first step is always back. Mistake that a lot of new slow pitch softball outfitters make is just not having the right equipment, the right glove. So look, I'm not here to try to sell you on a high-end glove. That's not the point. My point is you just want to make sure you have the right size that gives you a little more room for error. And look, this is a 14-inch glove. This is what I was demonstrating with in this video. This is big, it's roomy, it's got much more web, and you can see this ball seems small in it, and that's what you want as an outfielder. This is a 13-inch. This is a great, very common size. This will work really well. This is a lower end glove, so this is $150. This is about $50 or $60. This is also a 13-inch glove. You can see this doesn't have quite the depth of pocket of this more expensive one. So yes, these are both 13, but this is how this one closes. Doesn't close quite as deeply. This is a slow pitch model. It's all leather and it's much deeper pocket, so it's going to be a little more forgiving. If you clank one here, it's more likely to go into your glove instead of out like in this one. And again, that's not for me to say hey, go out and spend $150 on your very first glove, because I don't think that's probably the right decision. But They're different tools, and the higher quality tool, when it comes to gloves, they really do make a difference. This is a 12-inch glove by example, and look how small this is in the pocket. You're not gonna have much reach. If it's out here, that thing's gone. You've got to pretty much catch it on your fingers down in here, and you don't have nearly as much webbing to work with as like this 14-inch glove. So if you're a beginner, I definitely recommend 13 and a half, or 14 inches. They make 15-inch gloves too. That's probably not the right one to start with because they get a little bit long and you want to probably have a little more control over it. But something in the 13 or 14-inch length is going to make it easier for you to do the job well and have more fun catching fly balls as a slow pitch outfielder. The next mistake that I see beginner outfielders make in slow pitch is that they try to scoop every ground ball. The main thing is we're not going to throw many runners out on the bases from the outfield. It's just not going to happen very often. I have a really strong arm. I was a pro pitcher back in my day. I rarely, if ever, throw anyone out on the bases. They're just short, the bases are fast, and when runners do go, they usually know that they can make it. It's just tough. The biggest thing as an outfielder is to prioritize not letting the ball get by you. And when you run up and try to scoop it like this is the thing you do when you have to hurry and try to get a runner out with a throw. But if you're always trying to scoop it like this, a lot of fields don't have cushy, beautiful grass like this field does. And sometimes that ball's going to bounce over your glove because you have a lot less room to work with. And sometimes you're not going to get your glove down and it's going to go right beneath you. The biggest thing that you should do instead is by default, get down on one knee and make sure if this thing bounces, it's going to hit me in the arm, the chest. And I did everything I could to prevent that ball from going to the fence. But I do this, I get down to my knee and I field ground balls because I don't want them to go past me. The other way you can field them is like this, but even this, it makes me more exposed to not getting my glove down. And there's more room for the ball to take a bad hop and go between my legs. So don't get in the habit of scooping everything as an outfielder. It's not useful. It's not the right way to do it for most plays that are not very, very urgent. Instead, get down on one knee and make sure that ball has almost no chance of going past you. The next mistake that I see beginner outfielders make in slow pitch softball is that they drift and they backpedal instead of drop stepping and sprinting. So when we backpedal for balls, the ball is going to beat us. We can't go very fast. We start to lose our balance. It's really the least effective way to go back on the ball. It's also not good to keep our chest turned towards the plate where we're doing this. It's not a fast way to run and we're drifting after it that way. What we want to do instead is what's called a drop step. And a drop step means I drop 1 foot back and then I run with my normal running gait. You know, the glove is part of my arm and I'm going to sprint as hard as I can to beat the ball. I'm going to beat it to the spot that it's going to land and then I can collect myself and make the catch and come through it rather than just drifting and now like, oh, I barely got it. Sometimes even when you sprint, you'll barely get it. But the goal always is to drop step and run hard and reach when it's time. So don't backpedal and don't drift. The next mistake I see a lot of beginner slow pitch players make is throwing behind the runner. And what this means is, say I'm in the outfield and there's a runner on first and a single is hit through the infield to me in the outfield. Well, when there's a base hit, especially on the ground, that runner is guaranteed pretty much to make it to second base unless they're very, very slow. So in most cases, I need to remind myself that on a single with a runner on first, that runner is definitely going to make it to second. I don't have to hurry up to get it there. They're going to be there. And I also don't want to throw it to second necessarily because if they just turn and keep going, now we've got to catch it to second and then throw it to third. And now they're probably going to make it to third safely. So always think base +1 is where you're throwing it. You're trying to throw it in front of the runner so that they don't advance to third base in this situation. So that means I'm looking for my cutoff man in a direct line to third base in this situation with a runner on first, or I'm just gonna throw it to third, knowing that I'm probably not gonna overthrow because it's a long throw. I'm gonna throw it to third. Now the runner has no chance of getting there because the ball is way in front of them, so they're gonna stop at second. So don't make the mistake of throwing behind the runner, especially with fast base runners who might turn and just keep on going. The next big mistake I see a lot of beginning slow pitch players make is that they don't have a mental checklist. And when they get the ball hit to them, they panic because suddenly they've got the ball. Runners are now going to try to advance. Maybe they're tagging up or maybe it was a ground ball and they're going to keep going and they don't know where to throw and everything feels chaotic. And then they make the wrong decision or they hesitate and it gives that runners extra bases. We want to have a mental checklist at every position, which is, okay, how many outs are there? how many base runners, where are the base runners, who are the base runners, how fast are they, right? And if I get a ground ball, where should I throw it? If I get a fly ball right at me, where should I throw it? If I get a ball hit over my head to the fence, where am I going to throw it then, right? Okay, the batter's really fast, so they're probably going to get a triple, so I should probably be thinking to throw it to third. Looking for my cutoff man. The more you can go through scenarios between every batter, you can say, okay, now I know where I'm going to throw it if the ball's here, if it's here, if it's here, if it's here, if it's here. I know where I'm going to throw it, and then when it happens, because some of those scenarios are going to happen, now your brain is like, okay, we already know what to do. We can just react and be instinctual, and it's going to happen, and we're not going to panic and throw it to the wrong place or hesitate. So make sure you have a mental checklist. Even if you're relatively new to slow pitch softball, you still want to say, okay, where do I think I'm going to go with this in this situation? That runner on second is very slow, so I probably don't need to throw it home on a single, right? Because they're probably not going to score. So I'll just throw it to my cutoff man in the middle of the field, whatever it is. But make sure you have a mental checklist because it makes a huge difference in your throws from the outfield. All right, so thanks again for watching. Be sure to check out the description below. You'll see some of the equipment I use, some of the gloves that I wear in this video, some of my recommendations for gloves, all that sort of stuff. So check out that in the description below. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave one below. I get lots of video ideas from the comments section. So if you're curious on how to improve your game in some specific way, ask me, because chances are, if it's a good idea that you have, then I'll make that video for the rest of the softball community. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you here in the next one.